2, 3, 4.
Okay, so I just got the message from the studio that we can begin, and because the team with Photorkifu has some technical difficulties, we will start with a demonstration by Jan Prokop, who will show you his pattern search and live demo of it. So,
hello, my name is Sam, and I have prepared for you a short presentation about been working for 2 years now. It's called Valtteri's Go Pattern Search. Is there anyone who doesn't know it? Cool, so I will show it to you. It's web-based application. And that's it. You can search some position from Go Games, professional Go Games. I have the database of 65,000 of games, professional, and you can find some position or pattern, and it will show you the results from the games. So let's look at it. You can even try to find some fuseki. For example, I click it on Komoku, and then in the right column, I see continuations, possible continuations from professional Go Games. For example, the are this one, here, then here, and here, and there's many other possibilities. So, and in the left column, in here, matching games, we can look at the games. So, for example, I will click some fuseki. Like this. And now, if I like this position, I can look at the games. And now you can look at in what position it was played. And once again, if you want, you can replay the game. With the Joseki you found. Then there is the third mode. It's manual mode, and you can set up position more accurately than just clicking. You can see if I click on Joseki, I can play just black and white and black. But I can also set manual and create position, the wall position as I want. For example, we can check what is best response for San Rensei. So now I select with mouse drag my part of the board I want to search in. And then I click on this one, means find white continuations. So I click, and I see that the most common Josekis that was played against San Rensei. So, does anyone have some position who wants to try that I could search for you? Yeah, okay. What? Tengen. Okay. So let's look at it. We get the most common is here. And then we can see what happens. Or we can try something more cool, I think. For example, this. And now you see it again. Interesting. You could even replay it. I think it was probably a very crazy game. But it can be funny to watch. So, and that was one part of my Baltanisco pattern search. And the second part of it is the database. You can show it in the second tab here. And you can see here all games I have in my they are in the database. And you can search by players. I found it on internet. Most of them comes from Gokifu. And but I also downloaded some collection games I found on internet. Now it's not very updated, but I hope I will have time to update it soon. Now it's the last game from June 2014, but I hope so I will update it. So you can check all games I have, for example, in another mode. And you can also watch it and replay it. If you just click it, for example. So you can search by date or by players. So you can see there are 16 games by advanced search, where you set players. For example, like this. And we can see all games between Lisedol and Gule. And replay them if we want. So I would recommend all of you to use this tool I created. I think it's pretty good and it's very useful to search position. Yeah.
Can you tell us something interesting about the language?
Yeah. Okay. It's the front end is in JavaScript, as you can see, and backend is just PHP. Yeah. So the how it's working, probably I don't have prepared to explain it specifically, but the main thing is just PHP and MySQL database.
Anything interesting for the games?
Saves all searches. So for example, if I look at this position, it's almost immediately loaded. However, if I would manually select some kind of board, like for example like this, and I will click, it will take a lot of time when it search all the possibilities, because it's pretty time-consuming thing to search in so many games, and it takes long. But I think that this is the most interesting thing on it. Yep.
The very first picture you showed was definitely possible firstly.
As you can see, is
Empty.
almost which have been played in professional games. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they are. Effectively here, it means all positions. It means here, and here is the same, and the same. It will be all the same. Same continuations.
I was just surprised how empty.
So, again, may show you the new version of this tool I'm working on. It's currently in beta phase, and it's the same, but it should be a little bit better to use. And it should be prettier, but it's the same, but it's just a slightly different control. So,
Can I ask you how many people use this tool?
yeah. Today, I have 661 likes on Facebook, and the average usage is about 200 person a day.
They try.
So I could tell you precisely, but I think it's about 5 to something like that. So I think it's quite. I'm happy with that. So many people likes it. So.
I actually sent you based on at the beginning of the project. I really enjoy the
there's another thing, this board graphical is created.
In my library, I have written, it's called WGO, WGOJS, and I can also show you. There's, not this. You can use it in your website, the player. Like this. I have even used it for our Congress. So you can put it like this into your website. And it's responsive too. I think it's a big advantage of this. And the pattern search also is responsive. But don't cheat. Use it. Another question? So thanks for the listening.
We'll have, I would like to ask another guest. So far, all our talks have been related somehow to computers. This one is mostly, I think, related to history and art. So it has some pretty pictures. So this might be a, well, pleasant change for a minute.
I lived there for about 3 years, but at that time I was not so aware that one of the most important sites in Japan, one of the most famous one, an icon of Japan, is related and quite closely related to Go, the game of Go, and the site that is being related, maybe some of you recognize it, it's the Golden Pavilion in Kyoto. So if you make a tour in Kyoto, you definitely will be shown that temple because it's very spectacular, it's beautiful and covered by gold, so very good for photos. And the question is now how this is related to Go. And the section is, I will show later, first a short history that this temple was built in 1397 and the top 2 floors are completely covered with gold. It's formerly known as Rokuonji, but now it's normally attributed as Kinkakuji. Kinkakuji just is the Japanese name for Golden Pavilion or Golden Temple. And it was the retirement villa of a shogun, Yoshimitsu, and according to its last will, a Zen temple, so he donated it to the Rinzai sect after his death. And yeah, we don't need to go into the details. Japanese buildings are quite often destroyed by fire or by wars, but it was always being rebuilt, so it's still the original building, more or less. The last time it was destroyed was in the 1950s, and it's an interesting story. It was burned down by a monk. And the reason for destroying it like this, it was not just occasional fire or whatever by accident. He intentionally burned it down because he couldn't bear the beauty of the temple. So it was too beautiful for him to live with this beauty, so he burned it down. Nevertheless, they rebuilt it, and so still nowadays we can enjoy the temple. The connection to Go. In Japan there is a very famous kabuki play. For all who do not know, kabuki is the more popular classical theater performance in Japan. It's more for the every one person. It's not so specific or evaluated like no play, which is very formal and very aristocratic. Kabuki is more for everyone's liking. And there is a kabuki play, a very famous one, that was first being adapted for puppet theater, but it was so popular that after a few years it also became adapted for kabuki, and it's still being performed until now in Japan. So if you are visiting a kabuki theater, for example in Tokyo, you could still see the performance. And I want to show the link to Go by Japanese woodblock prints, because I collect them, so I have quite a few originals in my collection, and I have chosen especially the ones that are dealing with this, and there, especially the one that specifically show the details of the story. So here you see a contemporary depiction. This was a print that was actually triggered by a Go player. So the artist of this print was inspired by a Go player, Mr. Pinkert, and he asked that artist, can't you make a print with a Go player? And you can see here the Go board upside down, so the legs are pointing upwards. Here's the bowl with the... We will later see why it's upside down. It has a specific reason inside of that kabuki play and inside of the story. So this one is from Koke, is the artist, and it was created in 1988. So let's go to the story. So this Kinkakuji story, in the fourth act of this story, it's set around the Golden Pavilion, and in the play it is occupied by a nobleman, a Japanese one, Matsunaga Daisen, and you see this is based on a real person, and the whole story is based on a real story. Of course, it is a little bit artistically elaborated and changed, but it's basically based on a real story. And that Matsunaga Daisen was the governor of Kyoto, who, to further his schemes, kept the aged mother of the lately deceased shogun in prison in an upper room to have some, to get more influence, and having a person in his captivity to maybe trade to some other things. And here there is one print, too small, sorry, from Yoshitake from 1859. Maybe we make it a little bit smaller that we can see. Yes, something like this. Very good. Yes, thanks. Okay, perfect. And here again, does anyone see where is Go on that print? Do you see where is the Go? Yes, exactly. It's here. That's the Go board, and by knowing about the story and the inscription here, you can definitely say that it's a Go board. So this is the depiction of this Matsunaga Daisen, and I took especially, for the specialists of you, this is a print that was not printed in Edo, or Yedo, the former name for Tokyo, because during the shogunate time until 1868, Tokyo was not named Tokyo. This only was after the fall of the shogunate. So at that time it was called Edo. And the faces of the people being displayed in prints originated in Osaka area look a little bit different than to the ones from the Edo area. They have just a different style of artistic appearance. And I took especially in this case as many Osaka prints as possible, because you will later see by my photos that I have taken at that place, at the Golden Pavilion, that these people living closer to Kyoto, they know the place very well. So all their depictions are very close to reality. Whereas all the artists coming from Yedo or Tokyo, they were far away and they just had a slight understanding how it really looks like. So let's go on. Here. So the scene begins, and this is why I said it has really a close relation, because until nowadays, this is one of the very few kabuki plays that is still being performed today, where you actually see people on stage playing Go. In other things, they are using maybe some Go board to dance on it or whatever, but in this play, you can actually see the actors perform a game of Go. So in the beginning, the Daisen and his younger brother are playing a game of Go, and while they are playing, the guy is being brought in. Here you see even being bound, because it was found to lurk around outside the walls, and they consider him to be a spy. Actually, he is kind of a spy, but he pretends, of course, not to be one. And so you can see here the two playing Go, and the very later on important character being brought in and being interrogated why he was lurking around. When being asked why he was lurking around, he declares that he simply wants to enter in the services of Daisen, but actually later we discover that he's only pretending that to freeing the captured mother of the shogun. So Daisen orders his bonds to be removed and to test his mental powers. He's a Go player, so he knows about mental powers. Is challenges him in a game of Go. So first we see on the stage the two brothers playing Go. Now he's even challenging the Tokichi, who is this bound person, to a game of Go. At that time, nowadays this is not so well known anymore, but at that time the theater goers correctly recognized Tokichi as being none other than the young Toyotomi Hideyoshi, very famous figure in Japanese history. I don't want to go into details, but to show this, I took again, where do you see the Go board on the print? See, this is what makes my this is what makes my collecting difficult, because just imagine in Japan, I go to a dealer of prints, and he has thousands, and then I have to search like this, because otherwise I need a whole day for one dealer, but I have to see immediately that this is a Go board. So this is really hard work, believe me. Okay, so nevertheless, why does this print show that all the theater goers at that time immediately recognized that this guy was nobody else but the very famous historical person? It's because of these patterns in the kimono, because in Japan, kimono patterns are very closely like our armas, or how do you say the flags? Coats of arms, yes. Is this okay? Okay. Coats of arms, and also Japanese kimonos for official purpose, they were showing the family crest. And these family that you see here and here is nothing else but the family crest of the Toyotomi Hideyoshi. So therefore there is this close relation, and every Japanese seeing this knew exactly, oh, that's that guy. Oh. Pardon?
He is supposed to be incognito, but he wears a kimono.
Yes, yes. So, the connection to this is the Paolo Wiener, it's just the details, but the family crest is clear. So, on another part of the stage we see Princess Yuki. We have seen her, I did not mention her above, but that's the lady here. She also plays a role in this game, not in the game, but in the play, sorry. She does not play Go in this play. But to go on with the game, Tokichi wins against Daisen, and of course this guy is upset. It's always bad if you win against a high-ranking nobleman as a nobody, and by being upset, he does not want to give in, so he gives him another very difficult task to solve, a little bit like Greek stories, you know, where the heroes have to kill wild animals or go to the underground or whatever, and he makes a more simple task for him. He takes, and this is the next connection to Go. We don't have a bowl of, yes we have, very good. So he takes a bowl and is throwing them into a well, and the task is to get out the Go bowl and the stones without making the hands wet. That's the task. So he throws it into water, and the task is to get it out of the water without getting wet hands. So the guy, Tokichi, is very clever, and he lives up to that expectation. And last time, it was in December of last year, when I was there, I looked at the well. So this is the original well as it is now. If you go to the Kinkakuji temple in Kyoto, you find the well, here's the water. You see it was December, so there was not so much water coming out, but still it was wet. And if there's more water, you can imagine, if you throw in a bowl of Go stones, it's a little bit difficult to get it out. But Tokichi, and here you see the well. Here's the bowl of Go stones. And you will see why he's already holding the Go board here, because, and you also see in the background the waterfall, because if you go to Kinkakuji, yes, indeed, just about 20 meters away from the well is this waterfall. And Tokichi, in order to get out the stones from the well without having the hands wet, is redirecting some of this water by a bamboo pole into the well so that the level of water, and then he's using the go board as a tray and presenting it, and that's why it's upside down, because the legs would be disturbing. So upside down he presents the go ball to Daisen, and of course has solved that task perfectly. So let's see. And again, if you look at the prints from Osaka, they exactly know. So here you see the bowl of stones and the go board upside down. So even if you cannot see the grid lines on it, by knowing the story, it has to be a go board. It cannot be that this is a shogi board or any kind of other game board. It has to be go. Therefore, if you know the story, you are sure about that. So, the story goes on that this princess also is not very happy with that guy, and together they somehow can free the shogun's mother and win over him in a physical, not in a physical, but in a mental way. And that guy is then fleeing with the princess and kind of a happy end. Here again you see the go board with the ball, but here it's a print from Tokyo, from Edo. It's not upside down. So here the artist did not completely get the story right, nevertheless, and that it was very, very popular at that time is being shown by this very rare print. Things like that you hardly find in perfect shape. I have the complete set of 4. I only showed 2 because the other 2s are not so interesting for this presentation. And here you see the Kinkakuji temple. It's for children to be cut out of paper, and they can make a toy land out of it. And therefore, because normally children were cutting it out, it's nowadays very rare to get the complete sheet of paper without any cuts. Here you see the landscape. Even the small island in front of the temple is being shown here. Yeah, and that's the end of the story. So if you ever visit this Golden Pavilion in Kyoto, please remember it has a very close link to go, and please also go around. So the well and the waterfall around here, back of the temple, is the well, and about here in the back is the waterfall. Visit it. The well also should give good fortune, because many people are throwing money into it, and maybe it helps. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And does anyone have any questions? If not, then thanks again. I will close it. And now I would like to ask Mr. Corsolini and Karta to show the demo.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am the co-author of the paper that has been presented in the morning, and we have recorded the pair game between Crazy Maya and the Go Juan, the professional player. Unfortunately, there has been a problem in the very first few moves, and we require some time to adjust this. I will show you which problem is, and I will show you another game that we have already recorded in past years instead of the one that has been just played. The problem, unfortunately, is this one. These are the very first few moves, as you can see. Now, the professional player has moved the Koban, and so it became impossible for our program to automatically track the grid because the movement is simply too big, and this caused a lot of problems in this peculiar game because of the too strong reflection you see. It requires to overcome the problems caused by this big reflection. It requires a very precise calibration of the grid, and because the program lost the grid, it would be necessary to manually recalibrate the grid. This is a very difficult task in this very small screen. So we had several options, for example, to start the game at this point, but it also requires manual intervention in the beginning. It is not easy. It is also tedious. So we probably will manually rotate the first few photographs. Of course, not now. And when we have solved the problem of the recalibration, we'll finally analyze the game. We'll make a video and put online the video of this interesting game. So for now, I think that we'll show you instead another game that was played between two players that they are also now playing in the main hall. They are two Italian players. They are two very strong Italian players, and we have another game that we'll show you now. So sorry for the inconvenience, but I think this game will also be very interesting from every point of view. Okay, so this is the first screen of Photokifo with the empty Goban. The empty Goban has been recognized. My colleague has shown you before that the first task that Photokifo does is the precise calibration of the grid by means of the half transform. In this case, there was no problem at all, so the grid was recognized, and the user now will confirm that this is instead a 19x19 grid, and it is precisely located where the real grid is. So now the analysis may start. Okay. It is very fast because this is the ImageMagick version, and ImageMagick version is usually slow, but ImageMagick has been working in the past few minutes, so we'll overcome also the slowness problem. Now you see that the program stops here because, as also was shown during the conference before, there are two moves instead of one. That's because I think it was me photographing the game. A picture was skipped, so this situation, but the program correctly recognized the two moves in O17 and in Q17 and asks for confirmation. And when I confirm the two moves, the program carry on without any problem. There are no problems in this phase. At the beginning of the game, usually the players sync match, so there is time between photograph and the next one. Again, there are 1 and 2 moves because another photo was kept the same situation. We can confirm the situation despite the hands of the right player. The analysis carries on. Again, 2 moves. These are not so easily, but they are in L18. L18 here, the white moves, and then there is the black in K16. Again, the 2 moves are found, and the program carries on. You can see that despite a lot of hands, there are no problems if the stone remains visible. Another case, again, black stone, white stone, another picture is missing, and again, it is possible to let the program confirm the 2 moves and carry on. In this case, there were. This is a strange problem. It is a very rare problem. It is not completely the program's fault. In this case, there are 2 moves, a white one and a black one. Both moves are partially hidden by the white player. And this should be, I think, the first move that was played was, I think, the white. Yes, it was the first move was the black move. It is in 8. This in E18, but it is more visible. The white move, the second move. So the program knows just one move has been played. Which one it is? He thinks that it is the white one because it is more visible than the black one. So in this case, the program is not really wrong. He thinks that this is the played move. Instead, it is not. So in the next in the next photograph, he asks me, but it is white's turn. So why have I found a black move? This is a very rare situation caused by the position of the hand that partially hits both stones. I think that this is the only case in our 7 games that we recorded. This is the only case that this peculiar situation occurred. So it is interesting to see what happens in a case such as this. In this case, I think that the best course of action is simply to insert here, so you can see that the list of moves is also manually editable. So I think that I correct the situation, inserting here the black move in the correct place. Now, as you can see, there are no strange things in the corner. Both moves are recognized, and it is it's color third. So we can simply carry on the analysis, and the analysis carries on after that I manually edited the list of moves. In this case, unfortunately, the hand of the player simply hits the stone, so there is nothing that we can find, and we have to discard the photograph and wait for the next one, in which the program will detect the 2 stones instead of 1. And as you saw, the 2 stones were correctly detected in the next photograph, and the analysis again carries on. You can see that also despite all the hands and arms, if the stone is visible, the program always detects it. Again, there are 2 moves found here. And now I think that there are no other important problems until the end of the game, apart from This was a strange situation that occurred because the left player made a pass during the game and not at the end of the game. But this is not it's not a problem of ours. Again, this is a problem too big. The arm is concealing completely the moves, so we have again to discard the photograph, and the two stones played are correctly detected in the next photograph again. Again, this arm is too big, it is hiding the stone, and again the two stones are found in the next picture. You can see that if the stone is visible, no matter how big the arm is, it is always detected. So now we are very close to the end of the game. Now there is the 250 photograph. The left player has made a pass. I remember that he was in Byoyomi and didn't know what to do, so he screamed pass. So this is so the program cannot find a move here, but I know that this was a pass. It is not a duplicate photo. So black pass, and then the analysis can reach the end of the game. This is the last problem, two moves again. I confirm that the two moves. And now it is the end of the game. There are no passes at the end of the game because the black player, the one that was in a hurry before resigned, he had no time left and was also losing, so he resigned. There are no passes, so the program simply stops without detecting passes at the end. This is the complete score, and there are 283 moves, and it is correct, and also send the score to the two players involved. They are also playing now in this very important tournament here. If there are any questions, yes.
What is your frame rate? What speed do you take?
This is not a video. This is a series of photographs. It depends. For example, on this is a slow computer, and with ImageMagick it is about one photograph every 3 seconds. Now you didn't see any delay because ImageMagick already did its work before the start of the analysis. But usually, when ImageMagick is involved, it's about 1 second for a picture on a good computer, or maybe on a very good computer, half a second for pictures. With ImageMagick, with OpenCV has a lot of native transformations, so we can reach about 5 or 6 pictures per second on a good computer. We are still trying. We are still improving and porting the program to OpenCV, so we are not sure what will be the exact frame rate when the porting will be finished. But we hope to stay about 5 or 6 frames for second for a video stream. Yes. You want us to use ultraviolet lights for?
No, so basically to improve the quality of Have you considered something like that?
No, we have not thought for the moment. We have not thought something like that. We are now mainly focusing on, as my colleague said before, on porting the program to OpenCV. That is a very difficult task because, as my colleague said before, there are many differences between the OpenCV suite and the Magic Suite. So this is a big problem that we are not yet we have not yet solved this porting. So for the moment we are focusing on that. We are also thinking about having a better hardware for recording the game, but this will come later. More questions? No more questions? Okay.
Okay, so if nobody has any more questions, let me thank Mr. Corsolini. Okay, sorry. So, thank you. And with next presentation, I would like to ask Mr. Geoff Kaniuk. And he will be talking about how to get to the bar, or maybe more precisely how to find the bar McMahon system. If you want me to.
I'll just say next.
Okay.
Good afternoon. The bar in a McMahon tournament is quite important and has traditionally been set by tables which tell you for each number of rounds a certain population of players above the bar. A lot of these guidelines, one of the main guidelines is that only those players who have a realistic chance of winning should be above the bar. And one of the big problems I have is, what do you mean by a realistic chance of winning? So in order to make any progress with this, we need to find a way of realistically simulating any Go tournament. And really the only issue there is, how do you choose the result of a game when you try to simulate a tournament? And through the statistics published on the ETD database, we can produce a pretty good model for the probability of win between any two players of given. And in my tournament simulations, I assume that everybody enters, because I'm in control, I think precisely the correct grade for their strength. The probability of win in Go this is a framework of what I'm planning to do. I will next talk about how we do the realistic simulation, what I consider to be an ideal McMahon tournament. There are two properties that have arisen out of these simulations. One is the average score of any group of players of the same grade, and the average grade of the opponents of any such group. And both of these quantities change for whatever the bar is and whatever grade you're talking about. So, yeah. Okay, so probability of win, we start with we've given two players with grades R and S, with R the weaker one. And as we probably know by now, the probability that the weaker beats the stronger decreases with increasing grade. It's not constant like it is in chess. So, for example, in 11Q versus 9Q, 0.42, 4 Dan versus 6 Dan, 0.06. So it drops quite dramatically at the end. I can show details later on if you're interested. Sorry, can we have the next slide, please? Just quickly. Yeah. So this is showing the rapid decrease for a grade difference of 1 stone. Next one. Yeah. So what I decided to do was to start off simulating what I consider to be an ideal McMahon tournament. So there are no grade gaps. So you don't have 5 Dans and then no 4 Dans and then 3 Dans. And ideally, each grade group has the same number of players. So this will be more players than rounds. This will be the dream tournament for a draw master. You always hope to get something like this, of course you never do. What I then decided to do was to fix a particular example and go through all the properties of that particular tournament to see how things behave. So the example I took was 6 rounds, 4 players per group, going from 8Q to 5 Dan. Now let's see what happens. Okay, the first thing I looked at is for each group, or grade group, what is the average grade of my opponent? So that's what this quantity does. Grade minus my own grade. And obviously, no matter where you set the bar, the weakest group is always going to be playing other people in the same group or a little bit stronger. So the opponent grade difference is positive, and for the strongest player will always be playing either their own or slightly weaker players, so that grade difference is now the other way around. This quantity, the grade difference, depends on, as I said before, depends on the bar and on the grade. So apart from the weakest and the strongest, for other grades and other bars, it gets more complicated, and I can show you details if we've got time later on. Yeah, thanks. So this is what happens when we look at, let me just say this, again, the grade difference depends on the bar and the grade. So in other words, you can think of this as a surface in a 3-dimensional space. Sort of grade running along there, bar running along here, and the grade difference up there. And this surface turns out to have a ridge in it, very sharp ridge, where the grade difference gets a peak. And that peak occurs when the grade equals the bar. So what I've got here is the opponent grade difference for the players at the bottom of the bar. And so we vary the bar along here, and you can see that the grade difference goes positive and then down to negative. And across the 0, this is the 0 line at at the value of 3. And by the way, I'm using what I call 0 showdown units. So 3, that means 4 down, because a 1 cube is -1 and a showdown is 0. So in other words, the people at this grade are happy. They're happy because they see a good mix of opponents. The average grade difference is 0. Right. Next. Right. Now we said we were going to look at the group score. So what's the McMahon score of the group? And if we look at this line here, this one, that is your score. It's basically your number of wins for the player at the bottom of the bar. Right. So we can see that for the players, if the bar is down here at -8, that's 8Q, then I'm only going to be sorry, what's this number here? I'm 1.5 below winning half my games. You keep going, you get better and better and better, and at this point, there, very near to 3, you are getting a score where you're winning half your games. So again, you're happy. But that was the same point that we had for the average grade of opponents. So we've discovered the average grade of opponents and a good point from the average score of the players. So if you go to the next, so we're now there. How to find the bar? Get myself up to date. Start at a bar at maximum grade. Simulate all the rounds. We can then work out this value of opponent grade difference at that bar and the score difference at that bar. Reduce the bar by 1 and do it again. By the way, when you simulate all rounds to get the entire tournament, you then do that 100 times to get a good value of these two quantities, because they depend on the noise. Eventually, you'll get a whole sequence of values for these two, and you can then minimize the sum of squares, and that gives you an answer for where the bar should be. We have now found the bar, and I think I will now take questions. Yeah.
So whether you only care about the person who sits at the bottom of the bar, what about all the other players? Should you also try to maximize enjoyment in the sense that they should have good opponents?
Absolutely right. Can we have that? Okay, hang on a second. I'll tell you. Okay, let's have a look on page 23. Yeah, that's one. Right, this is everybody. No, it's all right. Yeah, that's good. What happens here, so this is now for all the other players. So supposing I have the bar at 1, this would effectively be 2 down. Then this is the score. This is cross, but that one is that one too. These are the two cues. You can see that they are achieving a score of 1 degree, which is half the number of wins. So the 2 cues are happy as well. You can see what's happening. I mean, these lines here are very faint, but very early on, and then the top one is level off as the bar gets higher and higher. So for all the other bars below here, all the players below the bar are winning half the game. Does that answer the question? This one here is the 8 cues, this line here, and they will start to win half the games when the bar is at about 3 cues. Okay, I think that's it. Any other questions? Yes. Obviously, these results are for the special ideal tournament that I've done. Of course, I've done simulations for random entries, and as a result of those simulations, I find that the difference between the maximum grade and the setting of the bar is no more than 3. In other words, in all the simulations I did, the probability that the bar was lower than 3 was minute. So what I'm saying is a rule of thumb would be, if you keep going down and you're getting a grade difference of more than 3, then you're probably overstepping the mark. Of course, there are extremes. If you have grade gaps at the top, then you might have to. But I very often find that you don't really need to cross the gap. And the other recommendation that I have, I mean, most the intuitive idea is that you should never have fewer people above the bar than the number of rounds. But there are certain cases, and I think it's about 20% or something. Oh no, I'd have to look it up. There's a significant portion of results where the number of players above the bar is less than the number of rounds. So one shouldn't be shy of actually saying, okay, less than the number of rounds. Yeah. 0.06. Yeah. That's absolutely right. The peak probability is a bar setting of 1 below the maximum, and then it goes down 2 below the maximum. But beyond 3, it collapses completely. Yeah.
How long did this simulation take your computer to run? Because, for instance, could a tournament organizer just simulate those game simulations, but with the actual
Yeah. First of all, he wouldn't need to simulate the entire entry, okay, because we've already said that you don't want to have a bar, I call it a bar depth, of more than 3. But then you've got, say, you've got a 5-round tournament, there will be 5 grades below that who might come up to that level, okay, so you might say the top 5 plus 3, the top 8 grades, sort of a little bit like this, is all you need to simulate. So you don't have to do the whole tournament. And then you want to do this 100 times. You may get away with 50, and on the computer I was using is a couple of seconds, if that. For this tournament, it would be perhaps a little bit longer, but yeah, 10 rounds. So it's not long. And the other thing I'll mention is that the algorithm I was using was the maximum weighted matching algorithm, which is complexity n cubed. My own program, GoDraw, has a complexity of n squared, but it's not sort of as optimal as maximum weighted. And I think probably n squared is good enough to calculate the bar, because you don't need to take into account all of the complexity of, you know, grades and clubs and stuff like that. Just simply make sure that most games are even. So that's the only thing you need to worry about. So yes, I think it's feasible. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a simple formula which says if that's the grade distribution, then that should be the bar. That just doesn't exist.
Is there a like openly available which implements it?
Yes, I have published the source. There's a link.
Okay.
On us to it, and you're welcome to take that and develop it further. It will eventually be included in my next version of GoDraw. Any more? My instinct is no. I mean, I don't, because I think as long as the pairing algorithm is respecting the rules for McMahon tournaments, okay, that people play even games, I think what's governing this whole thing is the probability of win and the structure of the matching, which is going to do with how you actually do the matching. No, but for doing the bar, you don't worry about that. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I mean, I think where you may see a bit of effect is how do you deal with uneven games when the McMahon group is odd or something like that. There may be a smaller thing that will be enough to shift the bar for a whole grade. And in any case, it wouldn't affect because I'm not giving you a number, I'm giving you a process. So you can still go through the same process, you know, and get the bar. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Okay, and the last presentation is sort of mine. I was asked to give a talk about overview about recent advances in computer Go, and in particular using deep learning and convolutional neural networks. Okay, so we already have some delay, so I will try to make this quick. And also the topic is if it should be like given in the very detail, it would be kind of long to explain. So I will just give a brief overview. So basically the progress in Computer Go. I think these are some important milestones. So at first there were classical AI methods such as alpha beta searches and so forth, which do not do in Computer Go, mainly because the search space is very large, has a big branching factor. Unlike chess, Go has no simple evaluation function, so it's from a given position very hard to tell whether the position is good or not. Monte Carlo tree search solves this by playing random games and then counting it according to the rules. But the problem with this approach is how well, it has several problems, but basically it's hard to do fast random games which are good enough, and this to find the balance, it's not so easy. And also it has some other problems regarding, for example, sharing information and so forth. Other mathematical approaches to the Go, for example, have been applied. For example, the classical game theory, and especially the combinatorial game theory, has been successfully applied to very late endgames, where there remain some 1 point and half points. So basically this theory is about getting the last point and so forth. But any efforts to extend this methodology to earlier stages in game than the very last end game have not been so successful. So basically now the progress in Computer Go has been in last 2 years has not been very big. So and currently the strongest programs are the Monte Carlo bots. Interestingly, so many researchers believe that some other idea is necessary to professional players. And the question is what the next big idea is. And in other of artificial intelligence, there have been some very interesting developments recently which regard deep learning. Deep learning is basically a technique where you have a neural network which is very big, and you have lots of data, so that you can so the big network has a lot of parameters. It's a very powerful model, but also you need to find the parameters, and for this you need a lot of data, and also you need vast computing power. So but this has only been made possible in few recent years. So recently these approaches based on deep learning are conquering one image recognition competition after another, and also voice recognition, and also all these have been in the past regarded as sole domain of human, where they will forever excel or so. But now it actually turns out that these approaches are very good at the tasks, and it might be possible to overcome the human skill in image recognition and pattern recognition and voice recognition, and so. So basically something about neural networks. In short, it's a general computational model which computes something. It has some input and output, and the input, for example, might be a Go position. It computes some sums and weighted sums and other functions on the data in several layers, and then it outputs something. And in Go, this output might be, for example, a probability of playing a given. So, and deep networks are obviously very deep, so they have many layers. So as I said, these networks are very good at recognizing images. So, for example, this is some winning network for ImageNet, I believe. So you can see that, like, it recognizes some animals and bullet train, and it makes a mistake. It thinks that the hang glass is actually scissors or pen, but it's a very good bad attempt because it has some meaning. For example, the frying pan has handle and some round shape, so it's quite good, and it has semantic knowledge. This is the architecture of network for recognizing handwritten digits. It's quite old, but it's very good example. So this is a convolutional network, and it works basically. So you have input, and then you have convolutional kernels, which you swap one by one on the image, and you compute the result. And you do this all over the place with the same kernel, and you get these planes. And you might have several of these kernels, so you get from one image you get several images. And you do this for a while, and you also downsample the data so that you obtain some properties. And in the end you can recognize here 10. So I think it should be 10 digits. I don't understand why there is A. So it probably should be 26 units for each letter of the alphabet. So, yeah, sorry, to check my time. Yeah, it's good. So, the convolutional network works, as I kind of said, so that you have a kernel which is the same on the picture and count the weighted sum here, and so forth. And you do this for the whole picture. So, for example, when you have some kernel and image of 2, you get this. This is the result. And if you move the 2, because you move the kernel, the representation in the resulting layer from the convolution also moves. So basically, this representation is equivariant. It's not invariant to translation, but it moves. But by adding further layers, this can be tackled. But so in Go, actually, it's like so it's quite natural when this works for images to try to apply these methods to Go as well, because basically Go board can be viewed as a simple, noiseless, two-dimensional image, which is very, very small and easy because it has only 3 values: stone, white stone, black stone, or no stone. And another good thing is that we have records of professional players from some, I don't know, 2,000 years, but from 20th century alone, it makes something like 100,000 professional games in, yeah. The GoGo database, I think, has something about 60,000 games. We also have online Go servers like KGS, which have plenty of games of strong players, so we have a lot of data, as I said. So a clear idea would be before with the images, we have image and we predicted whether it's a cheetah or a bird or an apple. So given the position, we might predict whether the player plays C1, Tengen, or Hoshi instead the very same methods we use for the images, or almost very same. And the people have done this, and it works surprisingly good. So for example, the very first attempt I know of is done by Ilya Sutskever in 2008, and it had some 37% of predicting the next move out of professional games. So it got roughly 1/3 of the correct professional moves correct. Yeah, and the network, it was very simple. So for example, as I shown before, this layer for recognizing digits has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a lot of layers, 8 or 9, if I come. But this network was quite simple, and it used the information from some 46,000 games of GoGoat database, and basically only this. So it's possible. The first attempt was successful with this percentage, and then the topic was, the field was quite quiet for a while, and recently, like last winter, there came another paper which at first improved the percentage, and what's more important, that they tried to play the network, use it as a player, because once you can predict the next move, you can basically use this network as a player. And the fact that you can predict next move of professional with a good probability doesn't mean that it's like my intuition would say otherwise, that it will not understand and will make meaningless moves in the other than the 1/3 of the moves. But actually the converse is true, and the this is some old version, and the network was able to beat GNUGO like 86% of times on just with no look ahead, just simply by having the input position, the go board as input, and counting all the weights and predicting the probability of next move. So by simply this effort, you can so the network has something like 5Q with and it has no look ahead. It's very simple. It has simple feed forward architecture that can be computed in 1 millisecond on GPU device. So it's very interesting that it works so well. The win rate is written here, okay. And also the network, in comparison with the first attempt, was not very, but much bigger than the first one. Also in April of this year, there has been further improvement by team of Medicine et al, which are, and also they work together with some people from Google. Basically, they've been able to improve this by 50 to 55%, so 55% of prediction of next move. And the next network was very big, and it costs non-trivial amount of energy and therefore money to train. So if you want to replicate, you should get you should move next close to power station or something like this. So, and this network has 97% win rate against GNUGO, and also it's able to beat Fuego sometimes on some setup. So the rank is about, I think, 2Q or something like this. So, and one more difference between these networks was that the first approach used the information where the last move was, and this turns out to be quite helpful to improve the prediction accuracy. And this second approach, they did not use it, the last move prediction. So basically, if they were able to use it, it would be something like 50 or so. But they argue that it's a different task, and it's not really clear whether having this extra information helps to make a better player, although it might helping making the move prediction better. So maybe I will skip and not skip, but make a brief detour. Yes, please.
What would you say makes this approach work? So it was basically shape recognition and playing correct shapes, maybe a bit of good direction.
Yeah, we can have a look. We can have a look on some game against GNUGO. The network actually good understanding of shape, and it seems to have some sort of intuitive understanding of the positions. Not very good. Human needs some counting to do something, and he's not able to do it, or is it like this is a I would say wild interpretation a bit. So whenever human does need to count some situations, it's not very good. Or for example, whether does this cut work or not. But when, for example, the human plays empty triangle or does not play empty triangle, or he does play in the some shape move, then the network has good understanding of this kind of the shape move and so forth. And I don't know why this doesn't run. So did the network won. I was afraid it might lose in this very case. So this is the game. The network is black. So white is Gnugo. Gnugo with level 10.
So the network learns characteristics?
Yes. Just by changing some numbers from the input. And now it understands that it's very big move to play. Understands. Another wild interpretation. I'm not sure if it understands anything, but it's like we humans work that so that these interpretations are useful. So basically now what I think is happening that it understands that this move is urgent because it takes away white's base, while Gnugo does some technique. And again when Gnugo didn't respond, it has very good understanding that it should play there. Again, Gnugo plays, which is a mistake that the networks know. So and also it came back to take the shape move. Actually kill here, right? It didn't. But it sometimes has nice killing moves. Yeah, it would be probably interesting to have some strong player comment on this game instead of Maer second queue. Yeah, but from this you can see that the next network actually is able to play consistently and follow some sort of not goals but find where the big places are and so forth. And yes he did. I can show you my resignation. Yeah, because white basically died here probably. So, he died and resigned. Yes? Beg your pardon? Did you say something? Yes. White resigned. Yeah. The papers have the researchers have analyzed how well the prediction accuracy changes during the game, and during first few moves it's not so good because like there is a free like the first few moves are free choice of the players, right? But once you once you decide to go for some goals, then when you're strong, you do not abandon these goals so easily. So the next part of game is more determined by the choice of opening or so. So basically the prediction rate goes sharply up to the opening, then it slowly decreases, and in the end game it also goes kind of up because the end game moves are kind of like end game Josekis, right? The Hane on first line or Hane on second line, descent or so forth. No. The network has well, it might have some understanding of ladder. For example, if there are like stones over there, then the professional never plays the ladder capturing move, but it has no look ahead. No look ahead. And yes, it's quite strong in this manner.
Would having a tree search improve things a lot?
Well, probably. It's like open research question, but it's not easy to. The problem is what to do with this network. It's kind of fast, but it's not really super fast. You can count the many positions per second in parallel in batch mode, but you do not have it, I mean, real time in nanoseconds. It takes some time before you send the data to GPU. So it's not clearly very easily pluggable into Monte Carlo research engines, I think, for this reason. But with some delay, probably it might be, or use the network initialized priors in the Monte Carlo research tree or so.
You can expect that we need much less size with, if you use it as a Monte Carlo again, just the position is good at the
Well, the problem is that the network does not say whether the position is good or bad. It's not an evaluation function. It just says what the probabilities of next move are. And because we have data for predicting next move, because we have lots of sequences from professional games. But on the other hand, we do not have data for evaluations. We do not know whether this position is good. We might do something like this position is good if the player won. But do we want to do it on the beginning, or where do we start? What for example, if he played perfectly good opening, but then some wild fight got wrong by one liberty or so? These are not like easy things to answer. But people are working on this because it would be very interesting to have strong evaluation function which is very fast.
But you have the probability of that particular next move as a number, do you?
Well, you have probability of all possible next moves. It sums up to 1. And actually, when you learn the network, you have to throw away illegal moves because the network sometimes assigns non-zero probabilities to non-valid moves. Yes, it is easy. It is easy, but you cannot. I'm just saying you cannot directly just use the probabilities and sample from or take marks to play. Yes.
When you learn a neural network, you depend on the basic data.
Yes, of course.
But even in professional games, if you look at professional comments on their own games, you figure out that quite some of the moves they played actually, later on they, in the comments, say, this was a bad move and this was not good and so on.
Yeah,
So you are, of course, then also learning moves where the professionals later by analysis say, but you say this is compared to the good information inside.
Of course, but it's very good mistake to make mistakes like professional nine down makes. If we get this will be problem once we get that far. But before it's good enough approximation of perfect move. Even if professional later says I shouldn't have played this one because it's one point worse in like 100 moves later.
Did I understand you right that such a 12-layer neural network, if it is trained, still the function to compute the next move is still too slow to use it in the Monte Carlo?
It depends. It's not particularly slow. It takes like 1 millisecond. But most of the time, you transfer data from main memory to GPU and then back. And you also can evaluate, for example, 512 positions at once, but with some delay, for practically no further overhead. So it's not slow, but it's not real time, and you cannot do 100,000 per second, I think. Well, basically, the lower, the better the network, the bigger it is. And the first one with 4 layers has some 10,000 per, quite light, not very much. And I think the last one is in order of millions of numbers, yes, which you need to tune. Well, neurons. It's when you have the convolutional networks, you have the convolutional kernel, which you have, for example, 3x3 kernel, and it has 9 weights, 9 parameters plus some biases. So let's say, I don't know, 10 parameters for one kernel, but you move it on the picture. So it's not clear what the neuron is. This network has kind of a bit different architecture than the typical feed-forward multi-layer perceptron network.
It's highly redundant.
I'm sorry?
It's highly redundant.
Yes, you use the same kernel all over the place. And I have in further slides. Yeah, I will skip. Yeah, this is basically. Oh, yeah, I might come back. This is so to paraphrase the handwritten recognizing in terms of Go. So you have this game, which by the way is. Do you know the game? It's here in bigger. Just a small quiz. Yeah, of course. So it's the ear-reddening move. And to paraphrase the Jan LeCun's handwritten digit recognizing network in terms of Go. So you have these the input layers, the convolutions, and then full connection and 19 by 19 probabilities for the output moves. That are the kernels. And the second paper, they fixed the kernels to be rotational symmetric and also reflection symmetric. So that basically you only learn 1/8 of the parameter space, and then it learns such good, I don't know if it's good, but it's very nice kernel. So it's like connection or some peeps or so forth. And this is some of the very first layers. The higher layers have some higher level representations which might not be so easily depicted. And these are the very same convolution kernels which were trained by network without enforcing the symmetries. And you can see that it's much more garbled and so. So these are the actual kernels from some experiments. Yeah. So basically, this is the end of the talk. So to sum up, network is very interesting technique which shows some promises, but it has a lot of open questions how to fulfill these promises. So basically it has kind of good shape knowledge and intuition, but is tactically weak. It doesn't have the look ahead, which is a clear obstacle. It's fast, but there's no look ahead, but still it can beat GNU-Go, which is quite good, because GNU-Go took a lot of programming effort to make. On the other side, here this network, you just define the functions and so forth. You give to the network the 50,000 gains, and there you go. You have program which is stronger than GNU-Go, which is kind of interesting. And it plays nice moves which people think can understand and so. What might be some next steps? How to incorporate this into Monte Carlo, or how to incorporate Monte Carlo into this to make or combine the models to make stronger boards, or how we can utilize these techniques. So, do you have some questions?
If you want to incorporate this into Monte Carlo, the neural network is deterministic. So there you have no, because the Monte Carlo method relies on randomness, meaning you play 1,000 games, but hopefully none of these 1,000 games is the same. If you apply a neural network that this has a deterministic answer, if you run one statistic game or 10 or 100, it will always give you the same move as the next.
Yeah,
because it's deterministic.
that's true. But for example, you might somehow use it to initialize the priors in the network. Yes, the initial when you have position, then you can for example use the network to see where the good moves are, and then guide the search towards these directions. So it is useful, albeit it's not albeit it is deterministic. Or you can add some noise if you want it.
Just to clarify that the output of the network is the number for each coordinate between 0 and 1, which basically says how good this move is.
Probability of each,
Yeah, when you do move prediction, you just look at the coordinate with the highest number. But in predictions, you can choose by probability based on these numbers.
Maybe the second best or whatever.
Yes.
You could ask Monte Carlo to look at the 3 highest or something like that.
Yes.
And of course, it would be interesting to combine it with the classic approaches for Tsumego-style problem solving, which is basically what Google is moderately good at.
I don't know about the internals of Kunugo, but I basically think that these localized searches are applicable in localized situations, but the hard part is how to divide the board or how to find the points of interaction. So it's not it's not easy. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, and I mean the big problem for Monte Carlo simulations are of course co-fights and localized problems of finding the living move. That is something which is difficult at least for Monte Carlo simulation. For localized problems, there are different approaches that work well.
Yes, but the hard part, basically the Monte Carlo has problems because it gets distracted, right? It plays the living move, but then it searches all over the board, or it's like, it's research, right? While we humans think about the game more in terms of, I don't know, graphs, so you have this group and solve this independently, or you have, the interactions by center and gota, that this and this center, therefore this interacts with the other group somehow. So the hard part is finding the delocalize or localize the problems, or divide the board and find the units. Yes.
Have you tried this on 9x9?
I don't know. Well, basically, simply, you cannot do the very same because there is not much data for 9x9 Kifus of professional games, as far as I know. But what you actually could do, I think, is if the kernel didn't have the network didn't have if it had convolutional kernels all the way from beginning to end, and even the last one would be convolution, then you could just use the convolution, the 19x19 trained convolutions on 9x9 board, and in my opinion, it might work quite well.
If I'm teaching a beginner 1,000 games, they'll become very strong on 9x9.
I'm sorry.
They're quite good at 9x9.
Oh. Yeah.
But you're able to teach a neural net in the same way.
Yes, but we do not have that. The neural network is trained from games which are played by professionals. It's like as if you taught the kid to memorize 100 games by Takemi Yamasaki or Sakata Eo for what I want, and we humans do not learn the same way. We can benefit from this memorizing, I think, but the network where you do not have the data for 9x9 games. Yes, please.
How many games approximately by 9x9 would you need to train roughly? How many games do you need? Because I think the
games are also much shorter, right? And so
I know you will not now say 57.9.
And the parameter space would be almost of the same size, except for the output which actually have 80% also. So, for example, these networks are trained on 40,000 games. Each game has approximately 200 moves, so that's something like 8 million pairs position next move. So I think you would need maybe I don't know, the same. The board is quadratically smaller, so it's 4 times smaller or something, so maybe 1/4. But it's rough. I have no idea. It's just a rough estimate.
No, so 6,000 games.
Probably.
Yeah, the question is because I have some connection to the NEOM team, and
Okay.
the NEOM team, you know, they have 9x9 even professional things on Sunday in their television show, and there I think 6,000 professional 9x9 games are a reasonable number that you might get. I don't know whether the NEOM team is giving them out, but I think they have definitely this amount of games. If you talk about 60,000 games, I would say that would be harder, but about 6,000 games is a number that could be imagined that they really have. That's why I asked. If we talk in a region,
but maybe we can talk after.
To think about, but if in a thinkable way,
I think it might be in the order of 10,000 or so.
this could be.
Okay.
If you are lucky, you can get them.
Okay.
I think also for other tasks, computer community would be amount of 9x9 games. So if it would be possible to get them, I think it is great.
Because I was really surprised how many they have. Because there are many games you never see. They have all these in television. You just see the final rounds, but they have quite a big base starting to get to the top, and all these games are professional 9x9 games. So
Okay. That would really be interesting. We can get together after the lesson or lesson presentation. Yes, please. But please, some last question or questions.
Very interesting to see what would happen without the database, to take the clone of the network, one of the networks, and to give him to play just what, you have to modify one layer or something.
Yeah, you have to modify it one layer, but the final layer is crucial. It's the final layers, which are the fully connected layers, have 80% of the parameter space. So it's like you don't have much without it. But you can use the kernels all the way through. But although none of these methods use it, and then I think you should be able to scale down to 9x1 or 13 for all it takes, arbitrarily, in my opinion.
Well, that might be an ideal
Okay, so thank you for your attention. Okay, and also I would like to thank you for your attendance of the today's Go conference, and I would like to thank my colleague Pasky for the work. And organizing committee and organizing committee is us, but the program committee, yeah. I'm sorry? Yes, we do.
Now, one or two copies
somewhere, I think.
Or there used to be a
We had plenty of them, I think.